So last year at the Mother Earth News Fair, I spent, I think it was like $25 on an oak log, and when I say log, I mean like 5-inch diameter, maybe 4-inch diameter by 4 feet long, inoculated with shiitake spawn. I spent $25 on it. And I got some shiitake mushrooms off of it finally, you know, late summer of this year, midsummer of this year. But this year I went around to some of the vendors and I found that I could buy a big bag of shiitake spawn for about $20 and get an inoculation tool. And I didn't get this all at the fair, but over the next couple of weeks I got an inoculation tool and a drill to fit on my grinder to drill the holes in the logs. And for less than the cost of 2 logs, I bought enough inoculant and the tools to do about 15 logs. Plus at the end of the day, I've still got the tools and I've got a new skill set. Now, I've been pretty doggone busy this summer and I really haven't had a chance to do anything with it. But I had a small oak tree fall down in the woods behind my house, and I thought, what better opportunity. Now, I only got really 3 logs to do because it was a fairly small tree. So I only got 3 logs, and they're fairly small logs. But I'm going to take a shot at it, do these logs, put the inoculant back in the refrigerator, and see how they do. Already, I'm money ahead. As soon as I do 2 logs, I'm positive on buying the tools and the inoculant instead of buying logs. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to inoculate these logs. Okay, so our first step here is to drill the holes in the log. I'm going to be using this. This is a bit specifically for inoculating logs. It's got a 12 millimeter, what I would probably call a modified auger bit, captured with a set screw in an adapter that fits on a grinder, on an angle grinder. And one thing I can tell you is this thing is no joke. This bit, if you're doing this, be very, very careful because it's no joke. Wear your safety glasses and be careful what you're doing. Now what I'm going to do here, given the size of these logs, I'm going to drill equally spaced holes lined up on the quarters, and then I'm going to go back and separate those quarters with another row of offset holes. You'll see what I mean when I'm finished here. So turn the bit on. You'll see that's what I mean by no joke. A drill, you would be sitting here, and you can use this bit in a drill as well, but you'd be sitting here drilling for quite some time. With the grinder, it's just buzz, buzz, buzz. It's got a stop collar on it, or not a collar, it's built into the bit, so that when you get to the right depth, it automatically stops. So let's turn this and drill the next set of holes. And this isn't rocket science. If you mess up the spacing a little bit, it's not going to cause you any real problems. Be as close as you can. One point about this was a live tree that got knocked over. It wasn't a dead tree, and it has only been down for about 3 weeks. And that's pretty important, because what you don't want to do is get a log that has already been, and infected is not the right word, but already has fungi growing in it. Pretty much any log that's been dead for a while is going to have fungi in it. And you don't want that. You want to inoculate and get the, in this case, shiitake or whatever kind of mushroom you're using, inoculate it into the log and get that started. Once it's growing, it will take over the log. You won't get an infestation of other fungi into the log, but it's important to get that in there before other fungi take over. So I'm not sure how well this is going to pick up on the camera, but basically I've got one set of logs here, or one set of holes here, and then one set of holes with the same lineup of spacing, roughly 1/4 inch around on the log. And I've done that all the way down the log. And then I come back and turn in between those two lines of holes and put a hole that is offset between those holes. Again, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but that's what I'm trying to do. I think on this log, I mean, I think I've got them a little bit close on here. Not that that's going to hurt anything, they'll grow just fine, but if I'm inoculating that closely, the fungi is basically going to eat this log faster. Just probably I'll lose a couple of years of production and maybe a year of production because of that. Not a big deal in my mind, but I am going to try to space the holes a little further on the next ones. Okay, so next we have to melt the wax that we're going to use to seal the inoculant into the log. What we're using here is cheese wax, but there are other products you can use. Paraffin would work, although it probably wouldn't hold up as well because paraffin hardens a little more brittle and will probably crack and break off easier. So we're going to go ahead and cut this up. We're basically, we've got a jar sitting in a pan of water. This will just make it melt better. It'll make it melt with less chance of it overheating. Plus I can heat it up in the jar and then just take the jar with me. Good night, this plastic is a nightmare. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so ideally I would have a hot plate out here to keep this wax melted, but I don't, so we're going to have to do this quickly. Again, what we've got here is melted cheese wax. Here we've got some sawdust shiitake spawn. Spawn comes in different types. There are plug spawns, there are sawdust spawns, other type of spawns. Today we're going to be using sawdust spawn. So how do we do this? Again, got to move quickly here before our wax starts to set up. So we take the inoculation tool, jam it down into the spawn until it's full. We take and put the spawn or the tool on top of the hole and simply push down on the plunger, which injects the spawn into the log. Now we take a dauber. I'm using a wool dauber. I just had some from my leather working. We dip it in the wax and we seal over our spawn. And I'm just going to, I just did one to show you. Now I'm going to just motor on down. Like I said, trying to get this done. So we're done. We've got 3 logs inoculated, and they came out pretty well, I have to say. They look like the logs you buy, so I think I did it right. I guess we'll find out in the spring. So there's no real art to growing mushrooms. Basically put these outside somewhere shady, keep them moist. Generally speaking, the natural moisture will be enough to keep them with the proper moisture. But if you have an exceedingly dry period, spray them down with a hose and you should be fine. Every 4 to 6 weeks you'll be able to harvest off of them. I got good production off of my last log, although it took quite a while to start producing. And you know, the common saying here, the common myth, I don't know if it's true or not, is to pick them up, bang them on the ground, shock them in some way, and that will generate a spawn. I don't know how true that is. I got spawns off of my other log without doing anything but keeping it moist. But you know, we'll see what we get out of these. And I'll do an update in the spring and see if we get any production out of them. So if you liked this video, and I hope you did, please click the like button down below. That helps get us up in the rankings and get more viewings. And if you want to see more videos on this type of thing, we do everything from gardening to hunting to you know, food production and preparation. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and we'd love to have you. So thanks again, I appreciate it, and have a good one.